Hi, Teri here from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is a gift box or treat box. Mine holds 6 Ferrero Rocher chocolates, but it could hold a small gift. I've used the Vine Design stamp set together with the coordinating dies, and I've also used paper from the Love You Always Designer Series paper pack. The box measures 4 1/4 inch wide, 3 inches deep and 1½ inches tall. So let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for all the elements required to create this project. So if you're interested in reproducing it, take a screenshot so you can refer to it later. I'm using basic black card for my box today. Now it needs to go into the Simply scoreboard with the longest side across the top, and I'm going to score down 1½ inches, 4½ inches, 6 inches and 9 inches. Then turn your cardstock so the short side is across the top and score at 1½ inches and 5 3/4 inches. If you place your cardstock so you've got the longest side towards you, you should have 2 horizontal score lines and 4 vertical score lines. Now I'm going to cut up each of the vertical score lines to the first horizontal to create tabs on each side. So I'm going to cut up the score line and then I'm going to make a slant cut on either side of the square tab that's created. Now when I make each cut, I'm making the cut by the rectangle. So it's outside of the score line, it's right next to the score line. So in this case, when I've made both cuts, the score lines are together with the square. So when I make the slanted cuts, that will remove the score line. You don't want that still attached to the rectangular piece. So a straight cut just outside of that score line next to the rectangle, and then a slanted cut. And I'm going to repeat that for the other side. While the box is still flat, I'm going to add my Designer Series paper to the lid section of this box. Now the paper is from the Love You Always Designer Series paper pack, and it's just plain white on the back, but it's got beautiful foiling on the front side. It doesn't matter which end of this box you use for the lid, but whichever side you place your Designer Series paper on, that will become your lid. I'm marking the center point on the front of my lid with a pencil, and then I'm going to take my 1½ inch circle punch and punch out a part circle at that point, and that just helps you open the lid. I can now fold on all the scored lines and burnish them with my bone folder. I can now put this box together, and I'm going to start by doing the base. So if you turn the base towards you, the 4 tabs nearest you form the base section. The 2 at the top form the lid. So add glue to each of the tabs in turn and position them against the adjacent side section on the base. Once all 4 tabs have been positioned, then I can do the 2 on the front of the lid. Here is the Vine Design stamp set, and today I'm using this little flower and the congratulations sentiment. I'm using my Stamper Artist to stamp the sentiment because I'll be over stamping it. I'm stamping on normal weight basic white card. So I've positioned my stamp and I'm going to pick it up with the plate, and then I can ink it up using Memento Tuxedo black ink and stamp it down. Then I'll ink it up again and overstamp it, and this intensifies the colour. I also need to stamp 2 of the little flowers using Rococo Rose ink. These will all be die cut using the flowering vine dies. Now I use the label die for my sentiment, and then the flower has a little outline die. I'll also be using this beautiful panel die. I'm going to die cut the decorative panel from black cardstock, and I've cut a piece that's just slightly bigger than my die. I also have a piece of our double-sided adhesive sheet. Now I've cut this slightly smaller than my black cardstock. All you need to do is peel the backing away to reveal the glue, and then you can add it to the cardstock. The die should be positioned on the side without the adhesive sheet. Now the backing on our new adhesive sheets is more waxy than plastic. This makes it much easier to cut through, although I will still need to run it forwards and backwards a couple of times through my die cutting machine to get it to cut cleanly. Once cut, you should be able to remove your cardstock from the die very cleanly. And then it's just a case of releasing all the little bits. Now a die brush would work really well on this, but I quite like to just use my pokey tool and sit and poke them all out. I can now add all of these elements to the lid of my box. Now if you would prefer to have a bit of dimension to this panel when you add it, I would suggest that you die cut several of them and then stack them together. I think trying to add little pieces of foam pads to this die cut would be very fiddly. Now all I have to do is remove that backing to expose the glue, and that makes this into a big sticker, and then I can position it onto the top of my lid. I've already added foam pads or dimensionals onto the back of both my sentiment and the 2 little flowers, so I can remove the backings and position these onto my lid. The little flowers match the panel underneath exactly, So you can either place them on top, or like I'm doing, you can offset them. And then to finish off, I'm going to add a basic rhinestone to the centre of each and to each end of the sentiment. And that's all there is to it. It's a very simple box to create. All I have to do now is add my gift or my chocolate treats. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.